All right, so you saw 6 preliminary finals. How do you earn grand final selection?
Yeah, well, these, like all the players have been saying and everybody's been commentating, these are the best games of the year, and it's the toughest week, Jared. And I think probably from an umpiring perspective, there are 3 categories of umpiring that I want to talk about tonight. But I think probably the other part to it is being where your feet are is probably the greatest hurdle of all. We're all aspirational. There's only been 60-odd field umpires in the history of the game ever be appointed to a VFL, AFL grand final. That's not a lot of people over the journey of 180 years. And so I think it's a real... the importance is to not worry about what could be, but rather just deal with what's in front of you. So, yeah.
So, Razor, I'm not... People think I argue with you for the sake of it. I'm not. But 3, emergency. Do you think that is on the back of your prelim final performance not being where you needed it to be, or how does that play out?
If I looked back at my prelim performances, I thought in 2 of them I couldn't have been prouder, and then there was another game where I racked up a few too many errors. Right. So a mixed bag, I reckon. So
is that the pressure they carry going into this weekend?
Absolutely, and being able to deal with the extrinsic stuff and understand that it has actually nothing to do with what you're doing, which is core business, which you've undertaken for 6 months. You've performed to a level that's afforded them the faith in you to pick you. Just do what you've always done.
All right, the 3 categories. So the foundation freeze.
Yeah, so core business, we understand that preliminary final, it's contested, there's a lot of pressure on the football, there's less time and space, and so we've got high tackle, we've got push in the back, we've got holding, and that's what happens with more contests for the ball. And what happens is you also have this space between one contest and the next becomes narrower. So it's fundamentally important that we're protecting the ball player, because the spirit of the laws in relation to any of the laws is the player who makes their sole objective the football shall be permitted to do so. So we've got a couple of examples here. In the first example, we make a blue, OK? And so the ball will get spilled in, bang, push in the back, no free kick paid. Now, what you'll notice is, yep, he goes into his back, but by the time that actually happens, the ball's in contest again. And what can happen in a final, Jared, if you're too wound up, you lack a little bit of composure, your head follows the football and doesn't stay with that tackle and watch it to the end. And that's how we miss a free kick like that. We fast forward another week, we get another opportunity at it, we've got a composed situation and we execute it far better. So in this situation again, contest, bang in the back, and our umpire doesn't move, sees the free kick and awards it. Now, in fairness, the ball's trapped in here, so we don't move our head. But that's a real key area in preliminary final. There's way more of these than you'd see in home and away.
So you expected to get them right?
You must get
those.
That's
a non-negotiable.
That's bread and butter stuff.
So you miss one of them, you're in a bit of strife.
You don't want to be missing any of those ever, particularly in preliminary final.
All right, so that's the basics, the composed decision-making.
So what can happen when we're watching things is that lots of stuff can appear to maybe going to be happening. Will he go into their back? Is it going to be an arm chop? Will they go high? And because we're wound up, we can be heightened emotively. There's 90,000 at the MCG. It's on like Donkey Kong. You can potentially see something coming and tip into the whistle, but then it doesn't eventuate. And we've got a couple of examples of here where we've gone superbly well. So, bang, throws his head back, Berry. That's never high. And we don't fall in and we don't pay the free kick. It's terrific. The tackle from Houston gets him across the chest. And in that situation, that was our first final. We knew all the narrative and the rhetoric going into that game, the repeat visit. The umpires would have been up and about wanting to be on top of that, and we don't tumble in there. We're composed and we just let the play go unfold. So that's a terrific piece of umpiring. Same here. So this one here, you look at it first, you go, oh, did he chop his arm? And if we look here at Meek, is it a spoiling motion? Yes. Does it get to the ball? Yes. Does he catch and drag Pedlar's arm? No, he doesn't. That's play on. And if you see the umpire in the background, he puts his whistle to his mouth, but he's composed enough just to wait and let it unfold, and subsequently we don't tip in and pay an unwarranted free.
So he'll get ticks for that?
Like... Massive ticks for that, because that's, again, composure and just letting things unfold.
So a non-decision is as significant as a decision?
They're all decisions, and ultimately, Gary, what we want our umpires to do is to be comfortable in the environment, and it's rare air.
This one I like because there are 3 possible outcomes here.
Yeah, so, OK, there are, and only 2 of them are OK. So Weddle takes the mark and his momentum takes him forward of the mark. Now, I think Weddle wants to play on, and so does the umpire in this situation. He said, you've elected to go, and as a result, You've been legally tackled. It's considered prior opportunity, so you must successfully handball or kick, which he doesn't do, so he pays holding the ball. The second choice you've got here, Jared, is when Weddle takes the mark and momentum takes him forward, Smith's got hold of him, you just immediately blow time on, you bring them back, you set the mark up for Brodie to stand, you take Weddle to cross over his mark, blow time back on and away we go. The third outcome can never be okay. That's never 50 metres. Brodie's allowed to defend that because he's ahead of the mark and he doesn't have to give him the turnstile running into goal. So 2 out of 3 would have been fine and we pulled one of the right reins. So sometimes more than one thing can be true in this game.
All right, and then you need the teamwork under the current system.
Absolutely. Since 2000, up until 2017, Jared, 3 men, and it was that, walked out onto the ground and it was on your own. Right? If you missed a free kick and Gary saw it, you go, well, bad luck, Jared. That's one for me, mate. And ultimately, that's not what people turn up to observe the game. They're not there looking at the umpires. It's about the players. So the 4 umpires who were charged with the responsibility on either night need to help each other out. You'll see here, player, Broderick, head over the ball, and McCluggage comes in and he's not stationary or near stationary and he makes high contact. That has to be paid as a free. But our umpire who was controlling there's some players in his road and he may or may not see it, or he may have just made a blue. But fortunately, adjacent zone umpire who's got an alternate view does see it, pays the free kick, high contact correctly paid. We've cleaned it up. The game is officiated in the manner which it should, and away we go. So teamwork in these contested and congested situations is vitally important. System is vitally important.
And then in our curiosity corner, it plays a role here as well. So this is the long bomb goal where Collins is denied the right to go back and intercept or touch it. Tell me what happens here.
We miss a push in the back free kick. So it's a long kick in and you'll see here, bang, 2 hands in the back, creates the space, he falls to ground. Now, we can see that from our view and we go, that's an obvious missed free kick. At the top of the screen there, that's one umpire, and if we roll it back to the first angle, you can see it here now, we can see the other umpire who is essentially through no fault of their own, they're technically in the right spot, but because the players come at a certain angle, he's actually front onto that. So he goes, has he just flopped? Has that ball gone over his head? He's got no context in terms of depth of that ball and the contact. So has he just fumbled and crumbled and looked for free kick, or has he pushed? So the umpire at the top there, he's side on. He can see that. And the creation is bang, hit your whistle, pay the free kick.
Bad.
So system matters. And the team, the two sets of 4, that's their challenge. Support one another for 2 hours.
Very quickly, how much homework are the umpires doing on the way that these 2 matches are going to be played out, do you think?
Yeah, to a degree it's important to have a level of information. Ultimately what you want to do is just be a witness and just bear witness to what actually happens in front of you. But I don't think it hurts to understand that, OK, this person here's been white hot and this person here's had a great role.
Or Brisbane like to pick kicks off and they short
hit the 45.
Uncontested mark, big part of the game. How hard are we going to be on the 15 metres?
Exactly, and the play on call, and don't get caught as an umpire standing in the kicking lane and all of those sorts of things. They are all fundamental elements to the umpiring performance. Before we go, can I just say one quick thing? Ian Burrows, boundary umpire, 50th final this weekend, breaks the all-time record, and in doing so, breaks the all-time VFL AFL boundary umpiring games umpire.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Buzz.
Buzz
Good
up.
on you. Ray, thanks a lot.